to go to this. It's a dumb party anyway.
Come on.
Let's go.
Come on, Cookie. Just for a little while. Come on.
Well, hey there, everyone. How's everybody doing today? My name is Joshua, or Carpo, if you prefer. And today I'm going to talk about pop reactionaryism, reactionarianism. Could think of a term for that. Let me start off by saying people don't like being told what to do or what to believe. Now, this is very obvious to anyone who's paying attention to anything at all in this world. However, it seems that we are still stuck in this left-right paradigm when it comes to politics, or a religious atheist paradigm when it comes to beliefs. This idea that we always have to take a side, that we always have to have an opinion, and that we always have to draw conclusions so we know the facts. Quote, facts. Now, in the internet world, we have many different, quote, pop type. Let's just start with pop psychology, okay? You'll have these YouTube channels that pop up, no pun intended, discussing various aspects of the human psyche. Sometimes these videos can be good. Other times they can be just downright, insulting to human nature, to even be like, yes, we know this, we live a regular life. Pop psychology and pop self-help and pop philosophy, let me give you a good example, would be the channel School of Life. Now, mind you, I used to love this channel when it first came out. In fact, they talked about a lot of different philosophers. They would give a basic rundown, a very generic version, but of what they believed and their claims. But over time, you start to find out maybe some of the things that they're claiming about these people were taken out of context, but generally they were put together well. Then all of a sudden, the channel turns into pop romanticism, pop love and relationships, almost as if the author himself, which I don't recall his name, I believe he's French, he's a nice enough guy, and the animations are cute, but the content was completely lost over time. It becomes this generic version of giving you presuppositions about what it means to be a human and how to love, with no real supporting conclusive evidence or anything based in fact. It's just telling people what they kind of want to hear without any real details. Now, pop science is the same way, but it doesn't always mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that the people or the information is wrong, but it might give a very generic version or rundown on something. Now, this can be good because people who don't know about a subject might be able to get a brief introduction to it. Pop philosophy as well. You're not going to read an entire book by Kant or, listen to every one of Nietzsche's, statements or writings. You're going to get a general rundown of, okay, this is what the person said. And if you have further interest in reading, you get into it. But this can take a dangerous turn when you get into, let's say, pop politics or pop religion, or, for example, the channel PragerU. It is probably one of the most horrendous channels that I've ever had the displeasure of coming across on YouTube. Now, years ago I had, I think, my videos on autoplay. I don't know when they came out, but maybe I was listening to videos about economics and this video comes on from PragerU. Never heard of it. Okay, a university. Must be fair and balanced. Sure. Basically, PragerU is not a real university. They don't have accredited people on there. A lot of these people are just spewing basically right-wing religious rhetoric with no real basis for their claims. An example for a whole pop marriage video, if you will, where the lady was talking about why marriage is important. But really all she talked about was getting married and how everyone should want to get married. Instead of giving you reasons why, or the benefits of being married, the best they could give was, you don't have to say it's your partner or your, boyfriend or girlfriend. Now you can say you're married. We know where it goes. The point being here is that there's underlying points not brought out. The questions are not addressed in many of these videos. Now, here's where I get to the point of my video. We have so many people that are worried about what others believe. And a good example, that's why I brought up PragerU. You'll find a lot of their content is mostly concerned with talking about how wrong it is to be this way or this way. or what's wrong with the liberal point of view, or what's wrong with socialism. All of these things, but it's always what's wrong with someone else. Now, rather than defending your own position. Now, this happens so often on the internet that we don't even bat an eye at it anymore. We have pop nationalism and populism. I guess populism. We have this idea that if you start, let's say, a YouTube channel or a blog, you start writing all these articles about how messed up the left is or how messed up the right-wingers are, and you get in there and you focus on just the worst of it, then you're basically looking for a story that will get views. Now, this is nothing new. This is how media operates. But not every author always wrote a book just for views. Sometimes they wrote it because it was in their heart, right? You weren't writing about the most popular thing. You were writing about something that you felt was important or that moved you to share with others. That's changed in the sense that the media is no longer giving stories so people can decide what's important, but they're basically telling you what is important, okay? These alternative channels are no different in the way that they go about this. They omit a lot of information and they get to what we call the reactionaries. Now, reactionary by definition, for reactionary or reactionism or reactionarianism, as I said, is basically, it's not, a lot of folks think that it's just hyperbole or just spewing something just to get attention or because it's, something they don't want, something wrong with someone else. Being a reactionary is focusing all of your efforts on taking things back to the way they were back in the, quote, good old days. This is a very important point because you might hear that word reactionary. A lot of people misunderstand and think that it just means they're talking about, intense subjects. No, it literally means they want to go back to the way things were at some never disclosed specific time in history, which you'll find whenever people talk about the good old days or how things used to be. They can never really pinpoint exactly when they were great. But almost always, this is based on a personal experience of nostalgia, rather than a societal experience of actual solidarity or, a better world. We're able to see more through the window of the internet now. It makes us think that the world is worse than it actually is. Now, mind you, it's falling apart. Many reasons, a government, climate, technology, we're eating ourselves. But beyond that, crime in a lot of places is down significantly from the 90s. Now that's starting to climb back up. But let's just say that we as a society have come somewhat far. But it wasn't everyone joined together. It was different camps fighting, and the different reactionaries within those groups trying to get things back to the way they were, rather than moving forward and saying, this is what we want. And in my opinion, it's the same thing as those who point the finger at everyone else and say, look at these dumb people. There are people whose entire careers are based on pointing the finger at other people. The media does this consistently. Look at what Fox talked about. Oh, look at what CNN talked about. Things like the current lab leak, issue where, the left media was totally making fun of anybody on the right who believed this, and they were so blinded because it was a debate back and forth for the sake of ad revenue, money, income. It's a disgusting world of profits at the cost of truth. And we start to wonder if there is any truth out there. Perhaps there were some good old days, but I don't think many people alive today would want to go back to farming and hunting and gathering. So exactly at what point do we say this is the world that we want? It's been a constant battle between several different camps, and nothing ever gets solved. I thought about this earlier. There's two different types of information, or of videos, let's say for YouTube, for example, that people are attracted to. There's two different reasons why a person has a feeling towards something or is interested in it. If I broke it down into the two very basics, one would be emotion and one is for knowledge. So if I watch a video for knowledge, I'm watching it to learn some technical facts about a topic or a subject. These are extremely boring, and I know a lot of people who have no interest in these, which honestly was kind of distressing when I realized how few people are interested in technical knowledge. if it's not followed up with an emotional response to that information. For example, understanding how something like a record player works, or even just how the justice system works, without turning it into a battle between who's right and who's wrong, right? So there's the knowledge part of it that I'm seeking out sometimes, but often folks don't realize that they're really seeking out the emotion. Now this can be, well, seen in puppy videos, right? Kittens. We feel like, oh, it's so cute. We have a warm, fuzzy feeling about it. Hell, I love watching cute dog videos. Makes me laugh, makes me giddy. Of course, I'm a human being. I have empathy, and I love seeing animals play. So what? So we also have the sad videos. You'll hear a case of somebody who was disfigured from birth, and they fought through it. Then there will be or the ones that didn't make it through. Then the other sad, happy videos. We seek these out because they bring out emotions. But there's one emotion that a lot of people seek out, and that's anger. And that's where we get to these reactionary nationalism, populism. We are the best because of this, whether we're men, whether we're Americans, whether it's our color, the clothes we wear, the groups we associate with. And I always come back to that Groucho Marx quote. I would never be a member. I would never join any group that would have me as a member, I believe it was. It always sticks with me in the sense that once you join a group, depending on, of course, if it's a hobby group, that's different, but, like a point of view where you take a stance, then it's very difficult for some people to change that stance. So if you hold all views on one camp or the other, it's hard for, say, a Christian to step out and say, well, I believe all of this, the rest of my church believes, but I'm going to tell the pastor I don't believe this. You'll be ridiculed because it's all or none. Well, politics have kind of become this way as well. It's not that you can hold kind of independent or mediocre views. You're either here or you're here. And that's not good for society. It's really not. I think it's important that we keep emotion out of information because it creates bias within our subconscious. One of the hardest things to overcome is frustration and anger about life and all the issues that we face, and not blaming that on other people. It's always important to blame the right people, hold them accountable, but not just blindly point the finger at one whole group or another, or every politician's out to get you, or everyone's the enemy. I don't think it's a healthy way to live, and I believe that a lot of these pop reactionary nationalist type, newspapers, video channels, they're really just trying to pull that emotion out of people because emotion causes you to feel like you're part of something. And so many people are so frustrated right now that they'll join anything. Think about the men's rights movement. There are some good points. Men have points to make about the issues that we face too, that it's not just women. But really, the whole red pill men's movement, where you become a member of a group that really, the whole sole basis is to say, I'm going to do my own thing, but also having a disdain for women, because of a situation that we've encountered. This is important to point out. I respect the fact that people have feelings about things, but we blame an entire group of people, whether it be men. Women in the feminist groups can be just as bad, often pointing the finger at all men and the patriarchy, and it's always this or it's always that. It's always somebody else's fault. What's important is that we take accountability, but we also are a society. It's very complicated. It made me instantly think about started feeling like Jordan Peterson talking about, clean up your own room. I'm not a fan of Jordan Peterson at all. But that point is, he always makes this point about take care of yourself first, and that's a great point. Of course, omitting the whole factor that you have to also be a part of your society, a member of your tribe, and accepting of other people. And there are so many great points and so many great people to listen to out there. I even listen to right-wing commentators, so I'm not just here talking about the right-wing reactionaries. Believe me. Groups like the Young Turks and some of these leftist news companies, they are horribly, in the same camp, but just pushed to the other side. Pushing buttons, looking for fault in others. But really, when you come away from one of these videos, you have no substance to go on. You haven't learned anything. and I think this needs to be addressed, so I'm addressing it. So thanks for listening, and I appreciate your time. I want to say thank you to everybody who comes to my channel to share discourse. I also have a Discord channel that I use specifically for the vlogs. I have several different places in there where people can freely comment and have discussions about a variety of topics, maybe things that YouTube doesn't like. And I'll talk to you all next time. Thanks to my patrons. I'll make a list here at the end. I'm not good enough at editing to say, oh, here's the list right here. I'm going to get a computer soon so I can make better videos, I swear. Anyway, it's all about the content, right? I'm not a reactionary, and I'm not here to get attention. I talk about the issues that I feel in my heart are important, and I just feel so disgusted by so much of the crap I see out there that really tries to oversimplify what life is. Doesn't leave the question or the door open to question things or discuss them, but says this is how it is and this is the fact, without giving you a full picture. So, that's society for you. I'm sitting here in my houseplant jungle. It's very comfy. My wife has been buying all these houseplants, and yeah, I like it. I like houseplants. This is a Chinese money tree. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but they're really pretty. I'll talk to you next time. Be well, my friends.
Some people took to writing their remarks on paper, but it wasn't much help. It was discouraging work, and more than once they thought about giving the whole thing up and going back to their comfortable zoo. But they didn't. They only thought about it. Oh.
Thanks for coming to Carlo's channel, yo. Yeah. The following presentation is brought to you by Nature. Nature. Not a VPN, not a razor or a shave club. Not a soap for men or a subscription to stuff you don't want. Nature. Always there. Always free. Always a tree. Always useful. Always available. Never sells out. Scream and shout. Nature. The only brand you need. Available in all 50 states. For now. Limited supply available. Act now before it's gone. You don't want to miss this. So what's your nature? Trademarked by Earth. Thanks for coming to Carlo's channel, yo.